I left my husband because he couldn't get over his parents dying, and I don't feel guilty about it. My husband was always very close with his parents, and when they passed away in a car crash 5 years ago, he went into a deep slump. He wouldn't leave his bed, and I took on every chore and cared for our newborn by myself. The problem is, it's been like this for 5 years. For 5 years, he hasn't left his bed, and I mean that literally. He expected me to cook his meals, and when I was at work, he ordered takeout. We hadn't had intimacy in 5 years. I didn't remember the last time he kissed me. He barely speaks to our 6-year-old daughter. I did every household chore myself. I worked 60-hour weeks. I finally worked up the courage and decided to put my foot down about everything. For the sake of our kids, for me, and especially for him. I sat next to him on the bed, took his hand gently in mine, and spoke softly. I know it's hard. It's been really hard for both of us, but we can't keep going on like this. Stuck in this endless sadness. Our kid missed you. I miss you too. I miss hearing your laugh and seeing your smile. Please, for all of us, can you try to take even a small step forward with me? I asked him. He looked back at me. I saw a singular tear fall down his cheek. He squeezed my hand weakly and said, I don't know if I can. I was beginning to lose my patience. I told him he had to get up. He had to. I didn't care how sad he felt. He had to get up. He went silent. The air felt heavy, and then I said that I couldn't keep doing this alone. I was tired. He told me that I had no idea of how it felt to lose my parents and refused to speak to me after that. I yelled, You're seriously telling me I don't understand what it's like to lose someone? You were getting your master's degree. You were studying to be something. While you were in school, I supported you through everything. I paid for your tuition. I paid for the house that we're living in. I worked almost 70 hours a week to put food on the table for us while trying to be there for our kids. You remember it? During that time, Andrew died. My own brother and I couldn't even attend his funeral because I had to work to put food on our table. When Drew died, I didn't have time to mope around and stay in bed every day. I had to get up and work even harder for you. For us. I was still here for you. When you decided to leave school in the middle of the semester, I still paid for the full class. When you needed therapy, I paid for it. Whenever you needed a shoulder to cry on or someone to be strong for you, I did it. I was there. I was depressed, John. I didn't want to get out of bed in the morning. I didn't want to be the only one taking care of Connor. Taking him to school every day before I work a 10-hour shift and not being able to greet him as he gets off the bus. I'm not trying to invalidate your feelings, but after 5 years of grieving, I'm tired. John didn't say anything. He just looked at me. I asked him if he had anything to say and he stayed silent. This infuriated me because it felt like I was talking to a brick wall. I woke Connor up and I left the house for the night and got a hotel. I needed some space away. On the drive there, Connor asked me why Dad wasn't coming with us, and I told him that he would rather stay in bed because he needed some rest. After we left, he kept calling me and texting me. I texted him back that I would see him in the morning and he sent a text to come back home that instant, but I needed some space from him. I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb, put Connor to bed, and got his clothes ready for school the next morning. While he was asleep, I started writing a letter to give to John. The next morning, I woke up Connor and drove him to school. Since our home was in between his school and my job, I stopped by the house and dropped off the letter. In it, I told John how much I loved him and wanted the best for him. I told him again everything that I said the night before. How I was tired and couldn't keep working 50, 60-hour weeks to support our family while I was the only one taking care of Connor. I was also the only one keeping up with the house and it was starting to get worse. Clothes and dishes would often pile up in the sink and would still be there when I got home. The rooms were messy if I didn't straighten them up, and you can forget about dusting. After 5 years of keeping this up, I was getting burned out. At the end of the letter, I told him that if he couldn't help me with anything or get out of bed for himself, then I would have to get a divorce. I left the letter on the kitchen counter. Before work, I would normally buy him breakfast or cook him breakfast, but I didn't have the time that morning. So I knew he would come downstairs and see it. Around 11 o'clock, while I was at work, John called me and was yelling on the phone. He asked me how I could treat him like that after he lost both of his parents. He said now I'm making him lose his family. I said that it wasn't the best time to talk about this and that we could talk when I got home. When I got home that night, I was greeted at the door by John. This was the first time I saw him out of bed after I got off work in years, but it wasn't a pleasant surprise. He started talking about the letter I dropped off and how I was selfish and a lowlife for wanting to break up our family. He was screaming and throwing things in the living room. He said that I was a failure at being a wife and a mom and that I would never be half the woman his therapist was. He said she would let him express himself and didn't judge him like I did. I let him get all of his emotions and words out before I got up, wiped the tears on my face, and without a word, I left the house. I drove around, but not to the hotel this time. I drove around the town and tried to clear my head of all the hurtful things he said to me. But under the city lights, All that played through my mind was the last 5 years and the arguments we'd had. I couldn't imagine spending my life without John. And I thought about how this could affect Connor. I thought about couples therapy, but between the house and the kids and only one income, I knew we wouldn't be able to afford both of our therapists.